Okay, number 6 on our sci-fi extravaganza.
We create the world of the dream. We bring the subject into that dream, and they fill it with their secrets.
Then you break in and steal it.
Well,
Another simple tale called Inception. Not. Okay. The premise of the movie is you can easily get into somebody's dreams, right? And you can extract information. That's easy. You do some kind of shared dreaming, which they show you in the movie how they can do shared dreaming. You go in and you get information from somebody. Maybe I want Gino's combination to his safe, right, in his apartment. I go in the shared dream and I get that information. What's really hard to do, or borderline impossible to do, is to get into Gino's dream and plant an idea where he thinks it's his own idea. It originated from him. That's the key, because if you want somebody to do something really important, they have to think it originated from them. And that's where the movie kind of gets rolling. Leonardo is going to help Mr. Saito because Mr. Saito, big shot businessman over in Japan,
businessman.
but he's got a number one
International businessman.
international. That guy's international. Got a competitor, the number one competitor, who's a big shot, is about ready to die, and he's going to leave his empire to his heir. And here comes the whole concept for the film. Mr. Saito wants Leonardo to plant in the heir's mind, break up the company. If he breaks up the company, then the company won't get too big, of which Mr. Saito can never compete with. That's kind of the general premise. So now they want to do shared dreaming with Cillian Murphy and Mr. Saito and Leo and everybody else, and it gets freaky.
You're talking about dreams.
That's just a starting point. That's just a starting point.
Talk about a layered, involved movie. Man, just hearing that synopsis.
Ken, take it away.
One of the most spellbinding, intricate, mind... I was going to say mind-bending. It's certainly something with the mind. I won't say bending, but it's a tour de force. The movie is a tour de force. The acting is great. The premise, you've got like 6 premises going on at one time. The screenplay, phenomenal. The direction, top notch. The special effects, none better. You've got a movie that packs so many ideas into an hour, and I'm going to guess 20 minutes, I don't know. But
it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Okay. Yeah, it's a longer movie, Ken.
2 hours and 30 minutes. Packs it in. I mean, it is dense. That movie is
a lot going on.
And every component is intricate, succinct, and executed fantastically.
Let me ask you both something, because I don't like this film. I don't like Chris Mulanola's film in general. What's the movie about?
Okay. Let me take a stab at that. I have a theory. You ready? Dante's theory on Inception. The Inception is being done to Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, I can't explain how, why, where, what, when, but the last time I watched it, I'm like, the Inception is being done on Leo. So why do I think it's being done to Leonardo DiCaprio and not Cillian Murphy? When everybody wakes up, right? Boom, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. When he wakes up, the expression on his face is, yeah, right? Ellen Page, when she wakes up, she was Ellen Page then, not Elliot Page at that moment. She wakes up, yeah. When Leonardo DiCaprio wakes up, whoa! Why does he have that reaction? And then Cillian Murphy wakes up and he's like, huh. Like, okay, they did the Inception on him. Mr. Watanabe got what he wanted. He made a deal with Leonardo DiCaprio. If you can pull this off and get Cillian Murphy to change his mind, and apparently he does at the end. And then Mr. Saito can make that one phone call, right? He has the power. He can make that one call from the plane to make Leonardo DiCaprio's all his problems go away. I'll confess. I'll make a confession. After I watched Inception the first time, I didn't know what the hell happened. I got online and I read a bunch of theories, and I'm like, geez, spent 15 or 20 minutes reading all these theories on the internet. So you know that's legit, theories on the internet. Watched the movie again, I was like, wow, okay, then I saw the movie in a very different light. Now I've seen it 4 times. But just a theory I have, but I can't quite explain why, that the Inception was being done to Leo. Thoughts?
Let me ask
Comments?
another question. Why does it matter? If we go back to the road warrior discussion, it matters to me because I have a fear of death and I have a fear of us losing everything we have. With Inception, I look at that movie and I just see what you like about what you just described.
It's a
about
puzzle.
It's puzzles.
It's a
right?
puzzle.
And the puzzle to me leads me nowhere.
Oh.
Even if it is about DiCaprio, and if it happened to him, he doesn't get back to his wife. I'm not quite sure even what that's all about.
I don't have an emotional connection to Inception. It's funny that you I don't have like an emotional connection. Like if Leonardo DiCaprio died in the movie, it wouldn't bother me that much.
Right.
But I have
And
a
he may have.
fascination. But it's a puzzle, and I really like it. Makes my mind go, and I feel like Christopher Nolan. He's clever, right? There's cleverness with the storytelling.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Well, I don't know if he's brilliant or not. I'm going to have to watch it like 3 more times to figure it out, because it could be a bit of
Maybe
smoke and
he's just good at
mirrors. I don't know.
puzzles. Yeah, that's what I think. Okay, you know what I think about before you lunch in, Ken? I think Chris Nolan's best film is The Prestige, and I think he plays his hand about who he is as a filmmaker. I think most filmmakers, you'd agree, Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen, Coppola to some degree, James Cameron, they all sort of fixate on the similar themes in their movies, right? Chris Nolan with The Prestige, he plays his hand. It's about sleight of hand and smoke and mirrors. And I think that's what Inception is.
It's the one they're gonna remember me for.
What happened?
It was the greatest magic trick I've ever seen. I need to know how he does it. He has no trick. It's real.
I think there's so much of The Matrix, so much borrowed in terms of visual clues or visual touches that remind me of The Matrix. I think, well, he's not covering new ground like The Road Warrior or Blade Runner do. It's not like, oh, my mind is blown. I've never seen a movie where people plug into something and people show up in a reality and they're all wearing suits and sunglasses and there's gunplay and there's agents. And in this case, it's really conjured up like these whatever these dream inhibitors are, who are like the psychological inhibitors are, who are trying to keep the team from finding the truth. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is really mirroring The Matrix, and it's not. It is. We're going to talk about The Matrix. The same sort of visual ideas are happening, and I think, well, okay, so as a visceral experience, I don't think it's groundbreaking at all. I think it's in a genre at that point. It's like, oh, it's like the Matrix genre of altered realities that you dig deep into, and what's reality, what's not. That's not new. And then as an answer to the question as to, well, what's it about? What does it mean to DiCaprio and his dead wife? I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't know what
It's
does that
about
mean?
letting go.
Let me
Go ahead.
can I go, because a couple of things I wanted to mention, and again, it's why I really enjoy the movie, is I like puzzles, and I love the intrigue of it all and trying to figure out what was going on. And it works as kind of an action movie. It works like on a couple of different
Absolutely.
levels. But let's talk about
Talk
the
action.
levels of the movie.
But even Joseph Gordon-Levitt climbing the walls looks like The Matrix to me.
Sure.
That looks like The
Yeah.
Matrix Reloaded
Sure.
or Matrix Revolutions, where
Yeah.
they're climbing walls and fighting. It doesn't.
Sure.
There's not new information to make it a
No,
groundbreaking film.
what is intriguing is this concept, which I haven't mentioned yet. It's about the dream within a dream within a dream. Okay.
Right. Let me ask you this, Dante, before you continue. Do they seem like dreams to you? Do those moments seem like actual dreams that you've had? Do you look at that film and go, these are the exact kind of dreams I have all the time?
Of course not.
No, they're very concrete. They're very concrete. And
They're
that's
very
what,
concrete.
That's what
Yeah.
disappoints you about the film.
You're right.
It's like, well, this looks like The Matrix.
You-
It doesn't
you're-
look like the best dream I've ever seen in a film is in the movie Atonement, where it feels like a dream.
But that's a different
You're
movie.
right. It's very concrete, but I think that's what
But he didn't.
I like, because
he didn't capture the dreamlike quality of a dream.
but
That's a
but,
failure to me.
But no, let me
So worked up.
Ken,
I've
let
lost my
me go
earphones.
first. I know you're chomping, Ken. I know you're chomping at the bit. You're like a racehorse.
That's right.
He's ready to go.
Dreams feel real while we're in them. It's only when we wake up that we realize something is actually strange.
But I just wanted to mention a couple things. Gino's right. The dreams are very concrete. I like that. You can follow it. Like, okay, we're following that. And it's such a complex story. If the dreams were filmed like a Fellini dream, we would just be like lost. As is,
Yeah.
it's already hard enough to keep track.
Ehi! Giù! Vieni giù! Giù definitivamente.
Remember that movie, Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge? You ever see that? Twilight. It was like a French film that Rod Serling sort of bought and brought into the Twilight Zone. It's a very dream-like
Haven't
movie. You don't
seen
have
that
to be Fellini to capture a dream-like quality. I don't think the film has a dream-like quality whatsoever.
You're right. The dreams are filmed like real life, but it made it easier to follow. But here's what I wanted to mention. One of the premises of the movie, when you have a dream, level one, like the normal time a dream, you're in a dream, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour, it lasts 10 hours. So you go in a world for 10 hours, right? Then you have a dream within a dream, right? That's something that they can do. Leonardo DiCaprio and his buddies, they can have a dream within a dream. And then it's like 6 months go by. Again, in real time, you're only sleeping for an hour, but you live 6 months in that dream world. But then if you have a dream within a dream within a dream, it's like 10 years. You end up living 10 years worth of life. But of course, you're dreaming for an hour. And then there's limbo.
You got limbo.
Don't get me
Gino.
started
Come
on limbo. Limbo is a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. And then it's like an eternity. And then Leonardo, our protagonist, and his wife, they end up going into limbo. That's another very important part of the puzzle. And Gina, you're like, what is the movie really about? It's about Leonardo DiCaprio's redemption, right? Something went very bad with the wife. He'll never get over it. Every time he has a dream, what happens? Wife shows up, right? And he doesn't want her to show up because she shows up and she kills people.
Right.
And she acts all crazy, and there's a reason for
because
it.
it's his
But
subconscious.
she sabotages the whole thing that they're trying to do, but he can't help it. He's so obsessed with her and their story.
Again, I've seen the film twice now. I just watched it the other night. What does he do to get back to his kids? I'm still not quite clear on what he does with his wife, where he can now finally face his children and Michael Caine and all that at the end.
That's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer.
I have
Can
the
you
answer.
have the answer to that?
Now, this
Go
is the
ahead.
one contrived element of this movie. This movie is so original on so many levels. We have one contrived element. It's his last job, Gino. He's been in the game too long. He's getting himself out. This is the one last job, and then he's free.
I think I found a way home. And this last job, that's how I get there.
And the job is he has to plant an idea in somebody's head. And if he does that successfully, then who's Ken Watanabe? What's his? Saito.
Yeah,
Mr. Saito.
I got
Yeah.
that. I got the plot. I understand the plot. I'm trying to say what's the connection? Okay, go ahead.
So he is considered to be the murderer of his wife. He cannot go back to the U.S.
Right.
because he's got a arrest warrant out for him. But he has 2 children who are in the U.S. So he's trying to get back home to his children, but he can't because he'll be arrested as soon as he gets there. So this last job, this Mr. Watanabe, Mr. Saito, not the actor, the character.
Yeah.
Mr. Saito, he's an international businessman. He's got connections because we know the oligarchy is real, and they can pull some strings.
One phone call.
Mr. Saito, he makes one phone call to somebody.
His wife is supposedly dead, right? And I always
Right.
assume that he's distanced from his children because his wife is like this entity that he hasn't resolved the murder, right? He hasn't resolved her murder.
Well, okay, the movie, there's a lot of metaphor in this movie. If you take it at face value, he's not allowed to go back home because he's
Right.
wanted for murder.
Got that.
So he can't physically go back
digging
home.
into the deeper
So,
meaning as
but,
to why
yeah.
the children, he can't see, in his dreams,
Can't
he
see
can't
them.
see the children.
Yep,
They
can't see their
finally
face.
turn. They finally turn at the end, and he finally is at peace. And I'm still a little curious. Like, well, what did he do in the dream with Cillian Murphy to get to peace? Because the last I saw, raise your hand, Ken. Ken, I choose you.
Because I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the whole idea is like he's afraid of getting sucked into the dream world and losing himself and having no idea of reality. He does not want to be a party of the dream world anymore. First of all, the dream world has destroyed. It's what killed his wife, and he's went down the rabbit hole. He lost himself in the dream world, and by extension, lost his wife, and then because of the murder charge, his children. So his wife is on his head. His wife's death is on his head. He does not want to ever see his children's face in the dreams because he might get sucked into just living in that dream world and never coming out of it. And so his children will never have a father. They already don't have a mother, and they'll never have a father. It's just these 2 orphan children. The entire premise of the movie is him getting back out of his addiction, out of his the thing that destroyed him, getting away from it and getting back to actually be a father for the children that really exist. Not the idea of children, not the idea of pleasure, not the idea of a pleasant life, much like The Matrix, a similar conception.
But The Matrix, we're going to get into The Matrix. The Matrix has one advantage over this film. The concept of us being controlled by the entity is real. The dream idea maybe it's an allegory for drug use, or maybe it's an allegory for gambling, or whatever dark hole we go down. But it's not immediate. I don't care about Chris Nolan's musings.
But it wasn't interesting. Like just the idea that
It's an interesting
construction.
Sure,
The construction of the script.
But
You
it's
didn't
not like
find that-
it's not like you go, boy, I can't wait to get to sleep so I can lose myself in my dreams. It's not a real threat to us.
It doesn't have to be a threat. The thing is, that we have intellectual pursuits. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, I'm gonna get squashed
I know,
by
but
a giant.
the world of the
giant
Matrix
foot.
is about being controlled by an entity like the government or big tech. There's a real threat to the Matrix. There's no threat here. I'm like, whatever.
Now,
There doesn't have to be a threat. what
Ken,
about
let me, Ken, I'm gonna agree with you. Your explanation right there is about as good as I've heard for what Leonardo DiCaprio was all about. Maybe the Inception was not being done to him. Maybe my theory, I need to rework my theory. And maybe it's a little more simple, that one final job, be done with it. He doesn't want to do it anymore, but he has to.
Right.
It's the only way he'll get back to be with his kids. It might be that simple. So again,
Which I
Gino
think it
mentioned
is.
earlier, Christopher Nolan's about smoke and mirrors. It was really a pretty simple plot with sleight of hand. We might be on to something. It's a very simple story. So all these nerds that go online with all these theories, they're
It's not about anything.
It's got 6 different levels.
So what?
limbo, Gino.
I don't relate to Chris Nolan's movies except for The Prestige, which is I think his best film.
The only
Go ahead.
final thought, and I did want to put this in, the music I thought was really good. Hans Zimmer, our good friend Hans Zimmer, was very good. You know, he can be very good. And the actors were very good. It's one of the better casts I can think of in the past 10, 15 years, you know, where everybody was very good. And, you know, Ellen Page was pretty good. Everybody else was really good.
She was great. She was excellent.
Okay.
They all looked good. They're fine. They don't have very deep parts.
Then, okay, you
As
guys want
opposed to Max.
Yes.
What
That's a
we got-
star-making
Just real
part.
fast, I'll
Leonardo
explain myself, but you
DiCaprio.
should do where the
You just
joke.
don't look at the
Buddies
fact.
with a really
Did
good
Ellen
cast.
Page
We got
or-
Joseph Gordon. Yo, what's up, Ken?
Dante,
What's going on?
did we recorded that Inception segment?
What are you talking about, Ken? We're doing it tonight.
Tonight. Right, tonight.
You all right?
Yeah, no, it's cool. We'll do it tonight.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
amongst the crowd in this little phone